These are people who work hard but no longer have a voice. I am your voice.
Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new live stream. Make sure you smash that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's get to 198K on stream, guys. We got a lot to get to. We got a lot of dooming. We got a lot of people that, I don't know if they watched the same debate that I watched, and that's okay. A lot of people are not going to agree. We're probably going to get into it with some of the people. And you know what? That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Because we've done this before, and I've been proven right, and they've been proven wrong. And, you know, how many times have we been through this stuff? Plenty of times. Whether if it was the midterms, whether it was, I don't even know, the primary data, whether if it was whatever it was, it doesn't matter. I watched that debate. I've watched every debate with Donald Trump in it. I've seen him debate Hillary Clinton 3 times. I've watched the debate so many times, you could even say it's unhealthy. I've seen him debate Biden, back in 2020, 2 separate occasions. I think the first debate, he didn't win that debate. I don't think Biden won it either. I've seen him debate Biden this year. That was a complete and total clown show for Joe Biden. Donald Trump did what he had to do. He won it. This Donald Trump we saw on that debate stage was the most measured, the most professional, the funniest, but like in a good way, Donald Trump I've ever seen out of any of those head-to-head presidential debates. And while many people are going to sit back here and say, you don't know what you're talking about. What debate did you watch? I saw the same debate you did. I saw the same debate you did without all the little fluff you saw on social media. That's what I did. Now, let me be clear. He did not win the debate by more than he won the first debate by. Kamala Harris did go out there, and she did do what she needed to do to not lose support. She did not get clobbered by Trump. She went out there. She did fine. She did well for her. Okay, we can admit that. We can be objective. But anybody saying this is a massive L, the election is over, they need to get their heads examined. Maybe log off YouTube, log off Twitter, and go volunteer or do something productive if you actually care about this election instead of caring about whining, because that's what a lot of these people care about. They don't care about Trump. They don't care about the country. They care about whining. Because I've heard a lot of critique about Donald Trump from this debate that you could even apply to him in the last debate against Biden, and I might be able to say, hey, you know what, I agree with you to an extent, but in terms of this debate, doesn't exactly fully apply. Even the betting markets are like 50-50. Actually, Harris was gaining before the debate because you have these whales, they call them whales on these sites, buying up large shares of the Harris stock. And the lead went from Trump +8 to like Trump +4 before the debate. And now it's like, what, Trump +1 on Poly Market. Big deal. So we could talk about it, and everybody in chat is like 50-50. Some are like, oh, he actually lost. He actually got embarrassed. How did he get embarrassed? That's kind of what I want to know. Because he answered every question properly. He rebutted every question properly. When Harris was spewing lies, he hit back on those same lies. He did everything that he needed to do. And again, the moderators were not good. I don't think they were horrific. And people will get mad at me from the other side of this. I don't care. They will say the moderators were super biased. Chris Wallace in 2020 was 30,000 times worse than the ABC guys. You already understand what you're up against when you get a debate on ABC. The most hostile network towards Donald Trump, the most favorable network for Kamala Harris. People are like, they didn't fact check her. I don't expect them to. They fact checked Trump, but they lit a fire under Trump to the point where it was a wash, in my opinion. That's what it comes down to. And there were some moments where I thought Trump really shined. There were some moments where I thought that Harris, oh, well, maybe she's getting in some blows. But you know what those blows reminded me of the blows of? Not the blows she gave to Willie Brown, but the blows that Hillary Clinton gave to Donald Trump on that debate stage. They were insufferable. They were annoying. They were intolerable. And being somebody who watched that debate from the perspective of, okay, I'll try to be that Midwesterner, because I am a Midwesterner. I am. I try to look at it from the average guy in Michigan, because that's what I am. Obviously, we got the hat on, we got the bias, we understand that. Try to remove that as much as possible tonight. While watching that debate, she comes off insufferable. She comes off as somebody who, actually she came off a lot more intelligent than I thought she would. That's not a good thing for her. The ditzy Wynant type of vibe, one could say that might even take her further, because it's like, oh, well, she's going to dip into this female appeal sort of thing. She came off like Hillary Clinton with a little bit of a tan on. That's what she came off like. And Donald Trump rebutted every single thing she said about him that was a lie, whether if it was the national abortion ban lie, the Project 2025 lie, the Central Park 5 lie, where you have these clowns, these thugs in New York City playing the knockout game, going out there assaulting people, admitting to a rape that apparently that they didn't do, but they admitted to it. And then Trump, it's his fault because he takes a page out calling for the death penalty for rapists. But Trump is also somehow the real one who's weak on crime. Folks, enough is enough. Kamala Harris is throwing out the same used up playbook that the Democrats have used Donald Trump for the past 9 years. And how exactly did it pan out? Not all that well, because Donald Trump hit back. Now, let me be completely fair. Let me be completely honest. This is not a game changer. This is not going to win Donald Trump the election. This is not going to lose Donald Trump the election. I called it. I called it hours before on Twitter. I called it yesterday in my video when I said Donald Trump is going to go out there. He's going to do just fine. Kamala Harris is probably going to do just fine. And I said that the media is going to spin it as a victory for Kamala Harris. It's not necessarily going to move the needle, just like Hillary Clinton. How many times did Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump, allegedly beat Donald Trump in those debates back in 2016? And if you go back and you watch those debates now, you're like, what the hell narrative were they talking about? I got the same exact vibe this time, because we understand how the media operates. We understand how the media operated back then. They're arguably worse now. They're desperate. Those moderators were neutral on CNN with Biden. Why? Because they wanted Biden to fail. They wanted Biden to implode, because they knew that his administration, he could not win re-election. Sorry, certain guy with a little keychain. He's probably out there. If he was going to listen to that, he would not have a very positive reaction. But we understand that. In regards to Kamala Harris, they know that we can make her Margaret Thatcher mixed with Obama, and she's going to go out there and take on the evil orange man, and she's going to win, and we're going to prepare every single line and every single question that she's going to answer. And you know what? She didn't even do it all that well. She did okay. I think she did well enough to not lose support, but I don't think she did well to gain support. And if you're a Trump supporter and you're watching Donald John America up on that debate stage, and you're watching him take these shots and arrows just like he took to the ear in Butler, and he's back against the wall, and he's going to claw his way back, that lights a fire under you. That's why I said the moderators, I'm not even that upset about them. He took him on, 3-on-1. You want to say 3-on-1, say 3-on-1. That's fair. But I think that he handled it probably better than if it was just a 1-on-1, because he had to deal with that. You have the extra, pressure. But who works better under pressure than anybody else? Donald Trump. But I will tell you guys this, regardless of whatever you think I'm a crazy person, you think you watched a different debate, or you think I'm underselling Donald Trump, the one thing I'll tell you is this doesn't matter. What matters is how many ballots we get in that ballot box by election day, by the time the polls close. That's all that matters. Debates are noise. They can move the needle a little bit, but, unless it's like a Biden debate performance earlier this year, you're not going to change the needle a whole lot. Now, if the polls show that Kamala won the debate and Democrats are more likely to answer polls, we might get a response bias, just like we saw for Mitt Romney back in 2012. That loser, he completely got eviscerated by Obama, wasn't even close in the states that actually mattered. He got completely lambasted to the point where, you might get a response bias, but that's a little bit besides the point. You see a response bias, maybe that. But we got to go out there and ignore the noise. Chase those ballots. You know how many polls in North Carolina in 2020 had Donald Trump winning? These so-called high-quality pollsters from the election mafia, 0 in the last 2 months. But he won that state by over a point in 2020, and we got to do it again. We got to go out there, win Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. It is lights out, game over for the Harris-Biden, Biden-Harris clown show of an administration. That's what matters. That's what we got to do, regardless of whatever happens. Will they debate again? I don't know. We'll have to see. But they're trying to manufacture this hype. So, of course, they are going to say Harris won the debate decisively. Doesn't mean she did. Doesn't mean it wasn't Trump's best debate performance to date. And it also doesn't mean that Kamala had a bad debate performance. I actually think she did okay. She did well enough to maintain her own support, but so did Donald Trump, which is a recurring theme this election cycle. And it all comes down to the final stretch. What are you doing? Are you whining on Twitter, or are you actually registering voters? Are you actually getting people that you know in your life to turn out and vote for Donald John America? That's the real question that I have for you guys. Whether you want to agree with me, whether you don't want to agree with me about this debate, it's completely irrelevant. We have to go out there and we have to win this thing. And I feel like she actually lost the debate because what she did was make people angry on the right more so than she actually energized people against Donald Trump. And that's what we got to do. We got to finish. We got to close. We got to win this thing. End of discussion. They can lie. They will lie. They will do worse than lie. We've seen that before, and we're going to see it again. But we got to make sure we're prepared, and we're prepared to take on Harris. We're prepared to take on whatever the system is going to throw at us, and we're going to go out there and win. I don't know if there's a snap poll from CNN. I don't know if they will release one. We're going to get to super chats. We got a lot of people in chat. We have 4,000 live viewers in chat. Like that stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's get to 198,000 subscribers on stream. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if we can get there. But like and subscribe. Let's get this thing done, folks. Let's get this thing done. Okay. We have super chats. Johnny Heartdog for 5 says, I'm not trolling, but I think it was a draw or slightly in Kamala's favor. I think it was close to a draw on the effect of it. I will agree with that. I do think that Donald Trump won the debate in my book. I think every Trump supporter out there in the real world, not these Twitter doomers, they're going to be like, okay, I agree, Trump won. And the Harris supporters are going to say Harris won. But at the end of the day, who's going to win is going to be determined by how many ballots can we get in that ballot box by election day. Can we outnumber them, or are we not going to outnumber them? We'll have to see. Tristan says didn't watch all of it, but it seemed like Trump kept repeating the same talking points. Wish he talked more about actual policy. Well, I think he talked enough about actual policy. What exactly did you want him to say? Well, we want our marginal tax rates to be cut from 29 to 26. Like, is that really going to win over people at this stage in the game? I don't know. I really don't know. But either way, it is what it is. Johnny Heartdog says, I probably shouldn't have watched it. I got extremely angry and filled with rage every time that lying witch talked. I wanted to throw things at the TV and hit her with it. I couldn't control my bad language. Halfway through the debate, I had enough. I got to the point where I would mute whatever that pile of waste spoke and unmute whenever Trump spoke. Yeah, you don't have to be mad at the TV. All right, look, it is what it is. They're going to go out there. They're going to lie. They've done it for 9 years. If you think that Trump is cooked because Kamala's going to lie on a debate stage, I don't know what to tell you. Because, and I'm not saying you're saying that because you're not. But what I will say is that they've said these same things for how many years against Donald Trump. It's the repetitive garbage. We understand where he stands. He was a damn good president, best president of our lives. And I agree that he actually left a little bit off the table. That's why I want him to come back. He's got a lot better people surrounding him now, surrounding his circle. All these so-called Republicans for Harris, the weak losers that have sold out middle America over these years. Dick Cheney, we don't want him. We don't want Dick Cheney. We'll take RFK Jr. We'll take Tulsi Gabbard. We'll take all these people. It is what it is. It doesn't matter. Folks, it doesn't matter. Let him talk. Let him keep yapping. What's it going to do? It's not going to do anything to me. Chauncey Hart says, do you think your constant rudeness will turn some voters off? I thought she came off as annoying and unlikable. Yeah, it was Hillary the sequel. People say Hillary won the debates. Then you look at the exit polls. Did you watch the debates? Was the debate an important factor? 50-50. Not at all what CNN said the debate polls were. Not at all. I don't even know if we're getting a CNN debate snap poll. Maybe they didn't get the results they wanted, but they manufacture out of thin air. You remember the Macomb County voter focus group they had after the Trump-Biden debate in June? And Biden was winning like 75% of those voters. They know exactly what they're doing, folks. And even then, they wanted Biden out. They wanted Biden out of the way. And they got it. They absolutely did. And I'm not talking about some Twitter snap poll. I know Trump's going to win a lot of those like 95-5. That's not what we're talking about, folks. That's not what we're getting at. Johnny Heartdog says, I think the piece of garbage won, but I think the people soon forget the debate and remember the grocery prices. I think it's divisive. It's one of those divisive things. I don't think it's like a oh, she won or oh, she lost sort of deal. I think it's one of those things where, yeah, I think Trump had a great performance, but people are going to talk about Kamala because she outran some of the expectations, not all of the expectations, but she outran some of the expectations. So what do you expect? Mike Oxhart says, I'm only doing one super chat because I gave all my money to Real American, but Harris won the debate after Trump said he won in 2020. He fell for the bait. I don't think anybody cares about 2020, man. Like, Donald Trump is going to say this, but that's kind of the point. Like, what do you want him to say? 2020 was a garbage election. Anybody who watched the election, understood how the rules were changed in the election, understands that 2020 was garbage. And that's not to say that, Biden didn't eventually triumph, not saying it was all legit, but I mean, he became president, which is kind of what they tried to gotcha Trump on. Oh, you said he lost, you lost by a whisker. It's like he did, but that doesn't mean that it was fair, doesn't mean that it was accurate. Now, most people believe that it was legit if you actually look at polls, but how many people care? Donald Trump is somebody that can transcend that stuff better than any of these other like 2022 also-rans who like are trying to play that, oh, I like Trump, but I'm like not Trump. The Trumpism without Trump that the GOP establishment loves to talk about that just completely bombed in 2022, ironically enough. It's funny. It's funny. Ice Cream Junkie says those ABC moderators were garbage. They didn't fact check her at all or push for any serious follow-ups. They made CNN look objective, which is saying something. Look, I've said it before and I've gotten hate and I'll say it again. They were better than I expected. They were not good. But again, Trump, when he's faced with these people, when he's faced with these moderators, when he's backed into a corner, he actually overperforms. And I'm not upset with that. I'm not entirely upset. I don't think that him doing the debate was like a net negative for him, although one could argue that if they want another debate that he should just not do it unless she does it on Fox. Because how many times do you have to do a debate on an adversarial network when she's too afraid to do a debate on Fox? If she's really confident in her debate victory, I think that she should do a debate on Fox. I really do. I really think she should. We'll see. The Iranian Putin says Kamala sucks. Well, thank you. At least some Putin is opposing Kamala in this election. Andrew Mortensen says all this debate proved was that Kamala is not a paralyzed vegetable like Biden is, but she may be dumber and more insufferable. Trump won and it wasn't close. He crushed her. See, a lot of people agree with you. And I could only imagine if this was 2016, if you had 16-year-old rep doing YouTube after the Hillary Clinton debate. If we had all the same people here, it would be a brutal disaster. But I think Trump won the debate. I've watched the debates with Hillary, and at the time, I thought he didn't win the first debate. I thought he did better in the second debate because he did have a lot of good one-liners there. But watching it back, I think the first debate with Hillary was arguably one of his best. It was arguably one of his best. I think he did well. I do think he did well. Now, I do think that she did well for her. I think a lot of it was just the regurgitation. She knew the topics, maybe knew the questions. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You know what you're up against. You have the system up against you. Everybody agrees. Whether they want to admit it or they're dumb or they're playing dumb and they don't want to admit it, it's the same old thing. It's the same thing. Articulate Arena says, if you say he did well, then I know I can't trust anything you say. Stop lying to us and yourself. He did awful and looked bad. Well, how would you take control? So you want to come up here and you want to tell me how to do my job. First of all, I don't go into McDonald's and tell you how to do your job. We've been over this before. But the second thing is is that I'm not lying to me. I'm not lying to you. I'm just telling you what I saw. If you didn't see the same debate that I did, you can leave and don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, because that's not my problem. You want to sit up here and say, well, he didn't do that well. He didn't do that well. All these people. The problem is that the same people, if Biden actually could talk in the first debate, they'd be saying far worse things about Donald Trump, when he did far better objectively. If you just cut up the Trump parts of the first debate and you compare them side by side with the Trump parts in the second debate, it's a 180. He did much better in the second debate. I gave him a B in the Biden debate in June. I think at least you give him an A- this time. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is what it is, man. John Waffle says Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. Wow, water's wet. Wow, that's totally, it's actually over now, guys. No, look, Taylor Swift is an industry plant. She's an artist. She's a liberal. She ruins football. And that's it. I mean, I can't even name a song she's put out over the past 10 years. Now, a lot of other people can, because they're more in tune with that like modern culture type of stuff. But to say, oh, a celebrity endorses a Democrat, it's like over now or something. I saw the statement she put out. I did. She told people, do your research and come to your own conclusions. I felt as if that was not very patronizing. Now, maybe you could say that that's going to have like a positive effect. But either way, I don't think it's something that moves the needle. A lot of people see Taylor Swift. They put her on screen at every Chiefs game 20 times a game, and people get annoyed. People get tired. Now, a lot of Taylor Swift fans are young white women, and a lot of them are either voting Democrat, and a majority of them will, but a good chunk of them are going to vote Republican. And Taylor Swift endorsing a Democrat like she's done every election cycle since 2018, that's not going to be enough to move the needle. It's not going to be enough to move the needle enough. I mean, she did a voter registration drive for Joe Biden. And we did the math on this. It netted Biden about 100 some votes in the swing states that counted. That's not enough. And that would just, and we did the math on it. If we broke it down and assume that, oh, it's the demographic and it's voting like 70-30 Dem instead of 100-0 Dem, it was actually like double digits in some of these swing states. And now any voter registration drives, Democrats stopped promoting it because it stopped helping them, because these, lower propensity working class voters, they started to vote more Republican and more Republican, to the point where they don't want to register these people because they know it backfires. That's why they don't go register the Hispanics in South Texas or Florida or even Nevada and Arizona at this point. It's just backfiring on them, folks. It's backfiring. Our Dog Show says Trump took an absolute hit on those betting sites. Did he really take an absolute hit? I look at Polymarket right now, it's 50-50. It was 50-50 4 days ago. Is he really taking an absolute hit? We'll see what the polls show. But I think a lot of that does have to do with response bias, folks. I think a lot of it does. Jawmaster says it took a 3v1 for Kamala to not get clobbered. It's true. She did okay. I'm not going to deny it. I've been objective. So many people like to pretend I'm not, but that's their problem. That's not my problem. Jeffrey Largent for $50 says, I don't think a lot of people giving takes tonight actually talk to regular people. Kamala didn't do anything to persuade anyone who's struggling. The debate itself is basically a draw, but Harris is losing currently. She needs to do better. Exactly. All these same people, the basement caucus, the basement dwellers, we've dealt with them before. We have to deal with them again. The same people. Oh, Trump's going to upset suburban women. You've never talked to a woman in your life. Shut the fuck up. All these people, all these clowns that think they know every little thing about elections, they've never actually talked to people in the electorate. And they want to lecture me, who's been studying this stuff ever since I was in high school, about how to do my job. And I'm not saying that I'm right about everything. I've been wrong, and I've been transparent about that, and I've learned. But to use one cycle against me when these same people have been wrong for like 4 cycles out of the last 5 cycles, if you include midterms, it's a total joke. And I'm sick and tired of it, and these people need to be humbled. And I'll be honest, Kamala Harris does have a damn good shot at winning this election, because I do live in the real world, and I understand that we need to chase ballots and we need to fight like hell so we can beat her. And that's the only way we can do it. And that's what I'll say. That's what I'll say. And I don't think this debate moves the needle. People can look and say, if she does end up winning by a hair, they'll say, oh, it's because of the debate. No, it's because you didn't get off your ass and do your proper job. And I'm trying to do the best I can. I've gotten so many people to volunteer already, and we're going to get a hell of a lot more people to volunteer. And hopefully it's going to be enough to move the needle over the finish line. That's what I can say. But I agree. Harris she did not have a world-beating performance. She had a very Hillary Clinton style performance, which is the worst thing. Because if you want to go woke and you want to play this woman card and this like girl boss, vibe technique of debating, whatever you want to call it, that is not the position you want to be in at this stage in the game. It's really not. Because you're trying to move away from the wokeness, and instead now they're trying to call people racist because they don't want 20,000 Haitians in the middle of Ohio, and it's documented. They say it's a conspiracy. It's documented. There's this, like these guys, they're holding like these ducks. They go to the pond, they kill the ducks, they hunt the ducks in the pond. This isn't like you're duck hunting in an actual like hunting place. They go, they break the necks of the ducks or the geese, and they're carrying them on the street. And already the police confirmed that it was happening. They're lying about it. It is a problem. And as for this whole like, oh, they're eating cat stuff, in Haiti, they do this thing. On Reddit, liberal Reddit, years and years back, people have been talking about the same phenomenon. So is it really that far-fetched when people in Springfield, Ohio are saying that this is happening to their pets? Absolutely not. And we don't want people that act like that and behave like that in this nation. You want to call me any name you want to call me. I don't give a shit. Say whatever you want to say. Throw it all at me. My grandparents, they didn't come over from the Middle East in the 1940s to move to Haiti. They came over to move to America, God damn it. And that's the country that we're supposed to have. And that's not the country that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, the white working class minstrel show loser, want us to have. And that's what I'll say. Enough is enough with these people. They don't like this country. They're going out there, they're grandstanding, they're pretending. We have nothing, we have a little bit to lose, and that's that at this point, but we're going to fight like hell to get back as much of that pie as we possibly can. That's what I'll say. But, you have all these people, these gaslighters. They want to go back to 2020. We can go back to 2020. We already lived through 2020. People don't want to go back to 2020 with this woke stuff. It's not going to bode well for you. I can guarantee you that. So yeah, keep pushing their buttons. Keep backing them into a corner with it. Let them say whatever they want to say. It's not going to bode well for them. The same way they said before. Christopher Laurie says, all Kamala did was wag her finger like an insufferable kindergarten teacher. Also, I love people on our side doom because Fox said it was bad. They were dooming before Fox even cut the feed. They were dooming 20 minutes into that debate. They were dooming. They were ready to throw in the towel. They're ready to give up because they're losers. They want to be, we shouldn't have nominated Trump. We should have nominated this other guy. Yeah, the other guy who lost a debate to a meth head. Lost a debate to an old washed-up politician who lost a debate to Nikki Haley, of all people. That's the guy you think could beat Kamala Harris? If Kamala's all that strong on her own, because Donald Trump did put out a masterclass performance in his own right tonight, if that's the guy who could do better, yeah, I don't think so. He would have done better in those other debates where there was a lot less pressure, there was a lot less on the line, and he had a lot better advisors back then than he has right now, if we're going to be completely honest and real. So it is what it is. So Johnny Hart Dog says, could it be that I only think Trump tied or lost by a little tonight because I expected Kamala to do worse? And that's why I'm thinking Trump lost. It's a serious question. Also, I agree about the moderators. Well, somebody does. No, I think it's fair. I think it's more than fair. I think Trump did better than I expected tonight. I also think Kamala did a little bit better than I expected tonight as well. She was prepared. She did read off whatever she had to do, but did she do it in a way that's going to move that undecided, Catholic guy in northeastern Pennsylvania who may have voted for Trump and then voted for Biden and then doesn't like the policies of this administration? I don't believe that it did. Patriot 345 says it's a wash, but that's not good for Harris. She needed to outright win this debate. Instead, she got her own I'm speaking treatment by Trump. And yeah, I think that part's going to be forgotten about too. I'm not going to lie about that. But I will say that all things considered, it just was a wash. It just was what it was. That's why I get upset when people are like, oh, Trump, it's over for Trump, guys. Yeah, it's not how it works. It's really not. Andrew Mortensen says Taylor Swift can endorse an orange if she wants to. If people vote based off of her endorsement, they're really dumb. I don't think it changes minds. Of course not. Of course not. It doesn't change people's minds. Taylor Swift, she's got a lot of fans who are going to vote for Trump and are Trump diehards. She does. And I think Taylor, in her endorsement of Harris, I read the endorsement before the live stream. I'm not saying that she was, being smart in her endorsement, but I do think it was relatively respectful. She did tell people, do your own research and come to your own conclusions. I've done mine and I'm voting for Harris Walls. She's probably not going to talk about the election ever again. And that's fair. She's hanging out with Brittany Mahomes, who is Patrick Mahomes' wife and actually supports Trump. And they get along just fine, and they have differences of opinion. Taylor Swift is probably not somebody that's going to be stupid and act like a LeBron James and then throw, all of her possible capital behind Harris. I don't think she cares that much, or she would have done it a long time ago. They planned this out the way they did because Harris did not actually win the debate the way they want. And they're like, hey, can you do us a favor? And then she does the favor. Is it going to move anybody's vote? Probably not. It's not. It's really not. I don't think Taylor Swift is going to move the needle. Johnny Hartdog says, by the way, hope you're not. I could never be mad at you, Johnny. I agree with about 95% of what you've said tonight. I don't think it's incompatible. I think that Harris did fine. I think Trump did well. And if you look at the title of the stream, I said Trump, it was, in many ways, his best debate yet. People were like, he's going to go on tangents. He's going to talk about sharks. He's going to do all these things that he didn't do. And Kamala even said it in the debate. And people are upset because he responded about something about rallies. He said a little thing about rallies, and that was that. Are we forgetting the previous debate where they were arguing about golf, which I thought was hilarious, don't get me wrong. But, come on, let's be real, folks. It was not a bad performance by any means. I don't think she won it, and I don't think he lost it. I really just think that she did better than I expected, and I actually think he did better than I expected. So what do you want me to say? Ryan Terrence says 2016 Trump is back. He made the debate heavily about immigration. Kamala did not appeal to anyone other than the cat ladies who would destroy the economy if it meant unlimited access to abortion. Yeah, exactly. And she wouldn't answer the question either. Would you support abortion in the last trimester if it was elective? Of course not. She wouldn't answer. And that's the thing. Because if this thing is so rare and it never happens, then why don't you ban it? Why don't you ban it with exceptions that you say, oh, there's exceptions, then ban it with exceptions? Because Trump is right. In some cases, in many states, it's not technically being born, you could say, but if there is a failed abortion and it's the 7th or 8th month, Tim Walz up in Minnesota, and I agree, Trump could articulate this stuff better, and he's not a politician. That's kind of his appeal. I get it. But, when it comes down to it, it is true. Donald Trump is right that you will take the baby on the operating table past the point of viability. They have permission to finish the job, finish the abortion. That is not abortion. That is murder. Well, it is murder. All of it is murder, if we're going to be honest. But still, you can't deny that. According to the average person's emotion, in a secular perspective, the average person would find that horrifying. And the pro-life movement has consistently dropped the ball, and they'll consistently blame Donald Trump for their failures, despite the fact that he's the only guy that actually gave them anything over the past 50, 70 years. So, whatever. Eric from Wisconsin says, I'm talking now. Yeah, I thought it was funny. That honestly, that's lore that only the deep, into politics people are going to get, but it was good. I thought it was funny. FM32047 says, when Trump dropped the I'm speaking shade on her, it was great. Harris also wore an earpiece, and the female moderator was Chris Wallace in drag. I don't know if she wore an earpiece. Look, they probably prepped her just well. just fine. She didn't do that bad, but she didn't do that good. She came off insufferable, and that's the main problem. If you have a problem with men, if you have this gender divide and you're going to lecture people, oh, but the women of the country, this, that, and the other thing, we've had enough abuse as men in this country. The entire system over the past 50, 60 years has been lecturing us. You can't say anything bad about Harris. They talk about Donald Trump and his sex life, and they lie about all this stuff. They make up these allegations. He represents us in many regards, because this is what people have dealt with over the past 50, 60 years in this country as men. Donald Trump, he kind of brings that fire to the system that says, oh, masculinity is toxic, because he actually has the balls, the actual balls, the orange bronze balls to be an actual man out there to defend what he believes is right and just and true. And you have all these people, they'll make up allegations against him. He represents all of the abuse that people have taken in this country. And it's a disservice to women as well. It's a disservice to women. It really is. But that's beside the point. Let's see. Salts for 10 says, I think the biggest problem is that imagine a lot of Trump supporters are going to have is that this was not the knockout blow we wanted. The war's not over. Oh, no, it was not a knockout blow. I mean, she did fine by her standards. Let's just be real here. We don't want to sugarcoat anything. We got to fight like hell, but it wasn't a knockout blow the other way, like a lot of people are pretending. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Some people want to act like it's over. There's no coming back from this. And they weren't even letting Trump get a word in a lot of certain topics. I get it. It was not the best debate. It felt like she was talking forever at certain times. And maybe it's just because she's so insufferable to listen to. I didn't see the time of possession statistics on that, but it just was, it was not good, folks. Not good for her. To the average voter. Oh, Trump did speak more. Okay, well then. Again, that kind of proves that he won the debate. Because if he's speaking more, but it felt like he wasn't, then that means that she's insufferable because you want to tune her out. That's a good sign, actually. Salts, okay, we did the Salts one. Apex Caliber says Fuentes likes Trump again. Ha, grifter. I don't care. I really don't. I mean, look, certain commentators doing certain things, again, it is what it is. It's not really going to impact this election. Also, new Trump fans are too young to remember 2016. Of course they're not. And again, that's not to say you can use 2016 as a benchmark comparison for everything. It's not. It's a different political climate. It's a different Trump back then. A much more undisciplined Trump, for better or worse, back then. Honestly, 2016 was unlike anything we've ever seen. But if he wins in 2024, the glory is 25,000 times 2016. 25,000 times. Jadeep McSwag says, should have mentioned Bernie on NBC. She's progressive. Yeah, I mean, the one, because people talk about missed opportunities, the one I noticed was he could have hit her on Bernie Sanders, her sponsoring the healthcare plan, which he did kind of touch base on. But he could have hit on that a little bit more verbatim. And she tried to pull the John McCain card out of her ass. Oh, John McCain with the healthcare bill, which again, she's the one that brought it up. And John McCain, back when, I don't know, he actually tried to employ the principles that he had because he wasn't suffering from TDS, he tried to do everything in his power to get rid of Obamacare, and in part for good reason. In part for good reason. What can I say? Lovely Six is Trump mixed West Virginia, but she's incompetent. She didn't think to nail him on that. That's how bad she is. Yeah, I mean, that was like the one gaffe I caught, but then he did say Virginia the next time he talked about it. So it's not that big of a deal. It's really not. Saying West Virginia or Virginia, whatever. It's like, you know, a one-time thing. That's the first time I've heard him say that. He usually says Virginia. It's not like he said Vermont. Like, oh, the governor of Vermont said this. No, it's Virginia saying West Virginia. It's like getting North Dakota, South Dakota mixed up. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like Biden with his Idaho and Iowa type of stuff. Apex Caliber says more men will vote T than women voting H. Yeah. Look, women, this is the thing. People are like, oh, women are going to vote for her because she's a woman. What do women dislike the most? Other men or other women? That's a real question. People are not ready for that conversation, but there's a lot of women that, what do? There's reality shows out there. They have a whole network. They have several networks of reality shows about women, specifically targeted towards women, and all they do is fight other women. That's not to say anything bad about women, but that's just to say that, yeah, there are women out there who, may be turned off by that aspect. It's true. Ragdoll MMA says Trump did fine, but the mainstream media will push a crazy narrative. Of course they will. People have to be numb to this. I don't understand how people are not numb to this. Will the second for 2. Stephen Knizik lost the chat. Hold on. We're going to get it back in a second. We got a lot of super chats tonight. Also, like the stream down below. Subscribe as well. Subscribe to the channel. We are almost to 198K. Let's get there. Stephen Knizik says President Biden says, oof, Kamala really made my debate look good. Also loved how Trump used Kamala's I'm speaking. Well, I don't think he made him look good, but it was like Biden 2020 level performance, arguably. You could say that could have been the case. Song Ohan 93 says in a debate she could have used to improve her public image and likability. She came off as smug and obnoxious, cackling. Kamala couldn't stop cackling. She couldn't. She really couldn't. She really tried to at the onset of the debate, which people watched the first 20 minutes more than they watched the back end, which I think were arguably Trump's better, or Kamala's worse, I should say. She was a little nervous. 20 minutes. It's like, yeah, she comes off insufferable. She probably, I guess you would say, displayed more competency than most people expected, but so did Trump. That's kind of the problem. Royal Doyle says, what do you think about that guy that correctly predicted 9 out of the last 10 elections predicting Kamala to win? I've been over his model. I've done videos on his model. Again, that's all it is. It's a model. There's so many things he can't predict that exist outside of his model, to the point where people that just go by, oh, well, this guy got all these elections right. Well, how many of those elections were hard to predict? Very few, if any of them were. I mean, the only election that he got right in like an upset was 2016. But looking back, was that really even like a victory when you analyze the inconsistency of the model? I mean, there's this one guy on YouTube that did a video about it. Probably, arguably said it better than I could. I forgot the guy's channel name. This Asian guy. He really broke it down really well. I think it was is it State of Daniel or something? He did like several videos on Lichtman, and he completely broke into his model. And you could tell by the responses that he was getting from the key cultists, 13 Keys cultists, that they had nothing to say, because it's true. If your own model's that inconsistent, how can you claim to be this prophet? You're not a prophet. You're not a god. You're a man who has a very big ego. And maybe you'll be right, but you're not going to be right because of your model. You're going to be right in spite of your model. The people don't see the economy as strong. They don't see foreign policy as a success right now. They don't. That's the problem. Steve Dow says Trump was Trump, made the points he needed to make. The spin is important as the debate. Trump needs to emphasize the 3-on-1 nature. I'm sure he will. Either way, I don't think it's going to move the needle. I really don't. I don't think the moderators were, and I don't think they were good. I just don't think they were the worst in the world, because I think Trump handled them well. The Court Dial at Gmail, thank you for becoming a member. Brandon says, what do you think when Trump said, I'm talking now? I thought it was funny. I laughed. It is what it is. Timothy Postal White says she talked in circles, focused on identity, lost him 2016. It did. Gerald Armstrong says, why is Rich Barris dooming on X? I didn't see him dooming. I just think Barris understands the polling industry better than a lot of people do. I have great respect for Rich Barris. He's a very smart guy. He gets a lot of abuse that he doesn't deserve from a lot of stupid people who like to engage in revisionist history about his record. But, either way, I feel like he's somebody that just thinks Trump shouldn't have done the debate. And I don't think that he really, judging based off of the feed that I'm reading right now, doesn't really seem that he's saying that Trump got owned or anything. He's just saying that, Harris acted like a B word, which is exactly what she acted like tonight. And that's putting it nicely. So maybe he's dooming a little harder than I would. But I think that he understands that the polling, because he's put a big emphasis on polling in the election mafia. He uses my word a lot. I'm cool with that. I don't know if he knows it's my word, but I'm fine with him using it. It kind of showcases that he knows that these people are going to be churning out these Harris +5, Harris +6 polls in the next couple weeks. And it's going to be living hell for a lot of people on social media. But, you got to brush it off. That's what I got to say. Doomsday Machine says Trump annihilated Kamala the first half. Nobody won the second half. Trump nailed the closing remarks. He did well in closing. He did well. And she prepped her closing statement. I didn't think it was worth a damn. Jeffrey Bryson says, I think Trump won. They tried to distract him, but ultimately settled in to beat Kamala. Also, I noticed when Trump brought up something valid, she resorted to sentiment to avoid answering questions. Exactly. She didn't respond much to the attacks on her record, which probably did help her, but it doesn't really, earn you a lot of brownie points among a lot of these undecided voters if they have questions about it. Ben for $20 says Trump got the last say. He closed it out perfectly. That's right. I agree. And make sure you guys like the stream. Make sure you guys like it. Let's get to 2,000. Let's get to 198K subscribers. Base Cat says Trump already winning liberal debate polls. Well, I didn't see any of those. I really haven't. We'll have to see. But is there even a CNN debate poll? Because I know they'll do the panels. The panels are all cooked. Oh, they finally have one. Harris won at 63-37. That's honestly not that bad. Their poll for the debates back in 2016, Trump only won 27%. So that's like a gain, actually. But that's typical for CNN. That's not really all that far off from what I expected. I'm not going to sit up here and say that that's that bad. CNN's debate polls are flooded with response bias, even more so than public polling is. They had Biden and Trump. It was 60-28 Biden at the end of the first debate in 2020. Then CBS puts out an actual poll, polls the question. It was Biden 49, Trump 41. The rest were a tie. So how exactly am I supposed to feel discouraged by those numbers when they're exactly what I expected going in? So otherwise, it just is what it is. American Nerd 1776 is breaking. The most overrated singer, Taylor Swift, just endorsed Harris. Not really a big deal since all her fans have no substance like her. Well, I think there's a good chunk of her fans that are going to vote for Trump anyways. It just is what it is with every artist. I mean, she is somebody who's been liberal. She's somebody who is very pro-abortion. She's somebody who was very pro-Biden. She used to cook those Biden cookies during the debate, but it doesn't matter. Her hometown in 2020 zoomed to the right, partially because a lot of it's Puerto Rican, but that's besides the point. Logical, thank you for the one. Mike from Bensonhurst says, my problem is they didn't fact-check Kamala like they did to Trump multiple times. Also, they frame most of the questions in a way to set up Trump and give Kamala layups. Moderators were garbage 3v1. That's expected, though. That's expected. I still don't think that he handled it poorly. Eric from Wisconsin says, I don't go to McDonald's and tell you how to do your job. Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Look, listen, I don't have a problem with that guy. I want to make it clear. I'm not trying to get personal. He said something that insulted my credentials, and I hit back. The bottom line is that the people that think that these things always move the needle are coming in and they're trying to make people discouraged, and it makes me angry in a way. And I'm sorry. It is what it is. But It doesn't. I don't know what debate people watched if they thought that, oh, Trump, he got his career ended. How many times have I heard that Trump got his career ended? Like, seriously. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. James says, please put the chat on mod-only mode. I don't know if I could do that because I think super chats would just not be allowed to be sent in unless they're by mods. Napoleon the Great says, what's your view on the Taylor Swift endorsement? Like I said, well, I already factored that into any analysis I've done. I'm kind of surprised it came at this time. Now, I don't think that she was like, we got to stop Trump and vote him out like she did in 2020. She gave her take and told people to do their own research. Is that something that's really going to doom Donald Trump? I don't know. I really can't say so. I mean, she's been prominent. She's been very liberal. It's expected she's going to endorse Kamala Harris. It's always been that way. If Biden was still in the race, maybe not. But, I mean, folks, they wanted to get rid of him. That's why CNN was so nice and warm and fuzzy during the debate to Donald Trump, or at least they weren't like trying to sabotage him. Byron8899 says, honestly, it doesn't matter if Trump or Harris wins the debate. There's so many uninformed voters and have no time to do research. Yeah, I think that Trump probably, we have to chase ballots. That's it. It doesn't matter if Trump destroyed Kamala. It doesn't even matter if Biden was still the nominee. We could lose this election if we don't get serious and chase ballots. I've told people this. Then they'll be mad at me if Trump loses for some reason because I'm like the arbiter. It's like, I haven't made my final prediction yet. I'm not going to get this ego trip like some guy with a keychain does and jump the gun. Andrew Mortensen says, Rep says, I won't tell you how to run McDonald's. Let's go, Rep, for stand-up comedy. It's true. It's true. Now, Kamala Harris, she never actually worked at McDonald's. I've never heard anybody lie about working at McDonald's before. Like, at least lie about working somewhere cool, like, I don't know, Culver's or someplace that's actually, like, tolerable. McDonald's, I mean, I don't hate McDonald's. It's American traditional fare. It's not good for you. But why lie about working at McDonald's when that's like the meme? Oh, you work at McDonald's. Hopefully she'll be working at McDonald's in about, 5 months. Then she'll actually have to work at McDonald's. Or maybe she'll work some other place. She'll do an OnlyFans if her track record and as to where she's gotten far in politics is any indication. Real Texan Politics has asked Senator Bredson in Tennessee how the Taylor Swift endorsement worked out for him. Yeah. She's not even from there. She's from Pennsylvania, but it's not going to matter in Pennsylvania. Her own little city that she grew up and moved to the right off a cliff in 2020. I mean, you could look at the precinct data out of Reading. It tells you everything you need to know. She doesn't have any regional appeal as a celebrity. Celebrity endorsements don't move that needle. They don't. It's like if I said, well, if Trump does a rally in Green Bay with Brett Favre, he's going to win Wisconsin. Now, he could do that, and he could win Wisconsin, but it's not going to be because of his rally in Green Bay with Brett Favre, if it does happen, which I think would still be smart politics. But Brett BR says the Haitians are eating the dogs. Many such cats. Well, apparently it was cats, but what we do know is they're eating animals from public lands. And you have how many of them in a town in Ohio? I mean, this is a problem. And all these fake conservatives that want to concern troll are upset that Trump brought it up. I don't want look, if people are going to be moving to this country unvetted by the thousands from these countries that are unfunctional, where their own leader eats human beings, his nickname is Barbecue because he barbecues actual people. Is that a caliber of individual that you want to let into middle America? I mean, folks, let's be real. I don't care what you call me. You call me any name in the book you want. I care about this country, goddammit. I don't care what you call me. I care about this country. I care about, the way of life that I live, the places that I grew up in. I want them to stay like the places I grew up in. And if you call that extreme, I could just tell you to go fuck yourself because that's basically the only thing you deserve. Excuse the language. But let's be real here. These people, they want to act like they're better than you and then flood your city with people that, again, come from the land of barbecue. Not like barbecue ribs, barbecue like barbecue humans. I mean, folks, let's be real. You want me to sit back here and just take it because the system No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We deserve the same immigration policy that a lot of these other countries have that are actual serious countries that, don't respect us for obvious reasons and take advantage of us. That's what we deserve. And I'm not saying anything bad about those countries, but they don't respect us and they don't respect our leadership. They don't. Holy she says people had way too high of an expectation and thought that Trump will destroy Kamala easily. That's why Trump had his misses, but a good closing statement. He did have a good closing statement. Ice Cream Junkie says, are you all concerned now that RFK Jr. is back on the ballot in Michigan? I don't know how concerned I am. He's at the bottom of the ballot. So if he's telling his supporters to vote for Trump, they're going to see Harris and Trump. They're going to vote for Trump. If they despise both candidates to the point where they'd never vote for Trump and they vote for RFK Jr., I don't think it's that bad. Now, North Carolina was a problem because the ballot order had him in second place. And we've seen studies on that where that could impact the election. I still think Trump would have won anyways. But him being off the ballot in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada is a big victory. A big victory. So I'm not that concerned. It's dirty politics they're playing. They wanted him off. Now that he wants off, they want him on. They don't give a damn about democracy. They don't give a damn about it. Het04 says all Taylor Swift's fans are liberals. I doubt that's going to convince many people. Also agree Harris performed within expectations, but she was insufferable. Definition of smug and cocky. Oh, I know. It's like it would be different if Donald Trump has never... Oh, have you heard of January 6th before? Have you heard about the election? Like if this was the first time those attacks were landing, maybe they would have been effective, but they weren't effective. And that's the problem. We've heard that on the media for how many years? It's tiring. Everybody knows. And Donald Trump was there to rebut it. He was there to rebut it to the point where I don't think it moves the needle. If he didn't rebut it, it might be an issue, but he didn't. He did rebut it. People like to pretend he didn't for some reason. I don't know. That's their problem. American Nerd 76 says, I can't believe Harris was praising the Dick Cheney endorsement. That would have been poison to a Dem 5 or 10 years ago. They called him a war criminal for years. Now they love him because they are war criminals themselves. Look, they want this to happen. They're incompetent fools. They want us to get roped into these conflicts so the military-industrial complex can profit, but the American people get sold down the drain while they import how many thousand of Haitians into Middle America and Venezuelans into Colorado and all these people in Ohio. I mean, and then they call you racist if you question it? Seriously? This is the behavior they're going to employ? It's like, no, listen, if you had all these people going into Haiti, they'd say this is colonization. This is racist. They'd even use they'd use a G word we're not going to use. But I think you know what it is. But if it happens here, it's cultural enrichment, and you're a bigot, and you're going to tolerate it, and we're going to imprison you if you say anything bad about it on social media. That's next. That is next. If you vote for these people, that's next. And people are going to come back, and they'll be like, well, Trump was right. All these people were right. And this is going to be too late. You're not going to have a country. You're not going to save the country because you're not going to have a country. So it's Cool Guy Rising to the left do their own Jason. I don't know. I think that they're not going to give up power easily if Trump wins, though. And then you might use the sentencing as an excuse. But I still think Trump's going to take power. Jimmy Payne says, going on random TV and news network showing clips of the debate on YouTube. Comments show Kamala's getting ratioed 80-20. Well, that's good. It's not real life, but it's good. JD1989 says the debate was close to a draw, but Trump won. Trump scores a 7, Harris a 4 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, more ways than one, man. More ways than one. Don't get complacent. Get out and vote Trump 24. So true. Scrublin says, man, that CNN debate 2 months ago really gave everyone amnesia with how these Trump debates usually go, 3-on-1, like 2016 and 20 with off-topic Trump. K-Schwitz for 5. Junaki says, I think the expectation people wanted him to knock her out but not see what position he's in now. Even Ben Shapiro said this won't matter tomorrow. Yeah, Ben Shapiro, I mean, he had a good take. I mean, he's had decent takes this cycle. I mean, credit where it's due, man. He's usually an anti-Trump guy, never Trump guy. But he was right. He's 100% right there. If he's right, you know, all the doomers are very wrong because he's one of those doomers. Ice Cream Junkie says, not related to the debate, but I love how the left acts like Dick Cheney's endorsement's a flex. Yeah, I know. It'd be the equivalent of, like, I don't know, like Trump touting Rod Blagojevich. Like, he's not going to do that. Or Kwame Kilpatrick. Kwame had a higher favorable rating in Detroit than Dick Cheney did when they both left office. That's the funny thing about it. Trump's not going to flex Kwame when he's campaigning in Michigan for a reason. They want to flex Dick Cheney. Flex Dick Cheney all you want. Herman Breckenridge says she did better than I expected. However, she didn't say much about policy. I got a bunch of platitudes and happy talk, not convinced. I don't think anybody's convinced, man. I don't think they're convinced. Apex Caliber says CNN post-debate Harris won it by 20. Yeah, we covered that. Andrew Mortensen says, wow, the fire I've seen in rep is the best damn fire I've seen. In all honesty, it's contagious, and I hope it'll spread and we'll win. Well, I get upset when I see our country's on the line and I see how stupid people are acting, and it's not something that I take pride in, especially people that claim that they're conservative. And I know it's not necessarily all in the real world, but, when I see stuff, it's like, if this is the pulse, it is contagious, and we got to stop it before it affects other people. Now, I'm not saying that we got to take this thing as like, oh, Trump had a massive victory. I said it's not moving the needle. I thought he did well, but I don't think it's moving the needle. And, I compare this to 2020, the first debate, where he didn't do well, but it also didn't really move the needle. And I said the same thing then. So no. But it is true. Jim Gold says Harris came off as patronizing and annoying the average American, and Trump came off as the average frustrated American. In that respect, he won. Exactly. Got to lean into that. Like, his legacy's on the line. Our country's on the line. You have to be angry to an extent. You don't want to come off like you're losing your cool or you're losing your mind, because I think they want to back him into a corner on that too. But he was energetic and forceful. That was the 2016 Donald Trump that America fell in love with in the first place, coming back to play tonight. And that's what you wanted to see. And that's exactly who he was. And speaking of the doomers, we got the resident doomer. Ash K2 saying Harris is within striking distance of flipping Texas and North Carolina. While Liz Cheney is a clown, her influence should not be underestimated. Yeah, okay. Liz Cheney is definitely the most influential person on the world. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Did Liz Cheney help get Trump elected in 2020? No. Okay. As for Texas and North Carolina, Kamala Harris is not winning either of those states. I hate to break it to Democrats because they will have those positions. Texas is not going blue. All right, everybody knows it. I'd be shocked if it's within 5. It's not going to go blue. The liberal polls, Morning Compost has it going to Trump by 9. And people are like saying it's going to flip. Seriously. Now, North Carolina, a little bit different ball game. But the fact that the polls right now have it as like a 1-point Trump lead, that's pretty good for Trump, especially because the state polls lag behind the national polls, and the national polls have been moving right. We polled it at a Trump +4. It's just not in the data. The mail-in request data, it's not there. I don't see the Harris win. We'll have more early vote data to go over in about a month or so. I'm not ready to call it for Trump, but I'd say Trump is the overwhelming favorite in North Carolina. All trolling, dooming, and jokes aside. I'll say that. Quinnipiac, they polled it. They got a Harris +3. They had Clinton +5 as their final poll in 2016 in the state. The last time they actually polled North Carolina. So they don't know what the hell they're doing. Christopher Laurie for 10 says, I think the media talking point will be Trump was angry. Well, after lying about him for years, which almost led him to being shot in the head, would you have any patience left? Absolutely not. Absolutely no pay. He doesn't need to explain himself. He doesn't need to. He should have milked that more. He did say it once, which I was glad. I said, mention the Butler incident, mention Springfield. He did both. He did his homework that I gave him, or at least that I wanted him to do. Michael Kramer says Harris looked like she had the questions in advance. Well, she knew the topics. Absolutely, at least the topics she knew. They prepped her. They wrote it out. ChatGPT or whatever, they found a way. They're not competent people, but they found a way. American Nerd 1776 says, is there even a point in having debates in modern politics anymore? Most people know what side they support and they won't be swayed by anything. No, and I think that's what Rich Barris was upset about, and I can't blame him for it. Because you're not having these Lincoln Douglas debates. You're not having the old Jim Lair debates that you had back in the day. You have biased moderators, and no matter what side's going to conduct a debate, if you had like Fox or like Newsmax, obviously, you'd have biased moderators the other way. Maybe not with Fox, actually, because Fox is two-faced. But yeah, it's not all that solid. Not all that solid to have these debates. I don't think that Trump would have lost support if he did it. And hey, Katie Hobbs, and I know that election had some shenanigans. John Fetterman, he debated way too late. But all these people in the midterms that didn't debate ended up winning. So is there really a correlation? Obviously, it matters less in elections that are like midterm elections, governor's elections, and stuff like that. But Trump already debated. Trump could be like, Kamala's not legitimate. Biden was the opponent. They switched him out because they were losing. I don't have to debate Harris. She's the same person as Biden. He could have done that. I don't know if it would have played too well. The same doomers now that say he shouldn't have debated. I'm not talking about Barris, but I'm talking about some of these other people. They would probably be saying, oh, he needs to debate. If he doesn't debate, he's going to lose, like that sort of thing. It's just annoying, man. It's annoying. We need debates that are moderated by like actual, if you even had like people like Elon Musk would do a good job. People like that, even somebody on the left or like center that can actually ask thought-provoking questions, that's going to go a lot more of a long way than the inverse. It will. Nick H. says, Rufus says Trump gave the worst debate performance of all time. Rufus said that Trump would lose to Biden in the biggest debate loss ever. He's looking for confirmation bias. This is the same guy who went up on U.S. Elections Atlas in 2016 and said that Donald Trump was Bernie Madoff reincarnated and that he would be at risk of losing Alaska, Montana, Indiana, Utah, and I think Idaho to Hillary Clinton. And then I'll pretend that account wasn't his when everybody knows it was him because of stuff that we found out. Somebody sent it to me. But it's like, no, I mean, that guy thought that Trump would only win the Iowa caucus by 10. At the beginning of the year, he had Georgia going to Biden by 5 to 10 points. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin going to Biden by 5 to 10 points. Rufus is not a serious analyst. He's funny. I actually like Rufus, ironically, because he's such a character. But he's not somebody that people need to take seriously. I think he's somebody that's just there for the laughs. Luke Newman says, very little undecided. Debates don't change much. No. And the second super chat says, I highly doubt the debate change anyone's mind. No, look, I agree. In terms of what these debates do, they're not moving the needle. They're not changing much. And Harris needed something to change the game, and she didn't do it. Michigan Nationalist says, if Kamala wins, Haitian illegals eat the bald eagles. Maybe. I don't know if that's a part of their diet or not. I think it's against the law, but I mean, given how we've been enforcing the law, especially against a lot of these illegals, if Harris wins, they're going to get away with it. Let's be real. Patriot 345 says CNN poll 63-37. Trump-Hillary numbers were better in the first debate than Harris. Yeah, I know. The gaslighting is unreal. It is unreal. We got a lot more super chats, guys, to get to. Like the stream, subscribe. But honestly, like, folks, I give Donald Trump about a good A in that debate, like a solid A. You could say Harris also did well, and I'll agree, compared to what I thought. I think that they both exceeded my expectations. That's why I get so upset and passionate when people are going to sit up here and say, you're wrong. Actually, Trump got owned because I don't know. I want confirmation bias so that we can move on from Trump and get back to like the days of old in politics where the media was nice to us. But you know what? First of all, anyone worth a damn, the media is not going to be nice to. Okay, let's be real. Let's get that through your thick skulls, folks. The few people out there that think, oh, if we switch out Trump with somebody softer, they're going to go nice. No, they're not. They're not. If they're going to be nice to any Republican, that Republican is garbage. You can wipe your ass with that Republican. I will tell you that in this day and age, they are not your friends, those type of people. The Nikki Haley's of the world, those type of people, absolutely not. They're not worth a damn. We're not going back. Kamala Harris is right. In that instance, we're not going back. We're not going back to 2004. We're not going back to Dick Cheney or Liz Cheney or any of the McCain stuff or any of those people. We're not doing it. We're not going back. We're not going back. We're going to build on this. Win or lose, if we lose the country. But this is not the time to give up. We got to fight. Donald Trump could take the bullet like the way he did, throw his fist up in the air, say fight, but you won't even register a single voter. You won't even phone bank. You won't even get people on the ground to vote for Trump, and you want to come lecture me about my election analysis? Why don't you do your job? Do that as your job. Quit McDonald's and do that as your job instead of telling me how to do my job. That's what I tell these people. But they don't want to do it because they'd rather complain. They don't want Donald Trump to win because they're losers and they like losing. They have a losing fetish. They do. That's why we call them cucks, because cucks lose in life, and these people do the same thing. LinnerX52 says, I'm sick, gotta go, but you're right about the debate. Trump won the match. Kamala lied throughout, spewed platitudes, but it's a draw election-wise. Kamala came off like a big entitled bully. That's true. Toll says, Trump tried to hit her, but the mods cut him off. Yeah, I think he did hit her relatively well. They did cut her off a time or two. I'm not defending their performance either, but I will say that I don't think the mods, because some people are trying to blame the mods for everything and then frame the debate as a loss as a result. And I don't think that's the way to go either. I really don't. Patriot345 says McCain was a veteran, doesn't mean he was a hero. Well, if you want to call him a war hero, you could do so. I have nothing negative to say about John McCain's service. I have absolutely nothing negative to say about it. What I do have a negative thing to say is about his service in the United States Senate, where he sold out the American people in favor of conflicts we had no business being involved in. That's the problem I have with somebody like a John McCain, and that's it. Jeffrey Bryson says, I like how Trump mentioned the gear left behind in Afghanistan. I wish he would have mentioned that soldiers had to pay for what they were told to leave. I didn't even know that. Maybe he will mention that at some point. CCM28 says, why are there always complainers on the right? I'm so tired. Have some effing confidence. Fox's post-debate show it was a struggle sesh. Yeah, Fox News is Fox News, man. That's why we're growing. That's why we're about to hit 200K. Now, I'm not saying everybody at Fox is bad, but I will say that there's a lot of people at Fox, they just don't get it. They are not my type of conservative. I was not invested in politics until Trump. Why exactly is that? Is it because, I just happened to grow up and find that interest? Or was it because Donald Trump sparked that interest because the old Republicans couldn't do it? And I think it's the latter. Mitt Romney losing didn't affect my life, and I was not really a fan of Barack Obama even back then when I was, 12, 13 years old. But Mitt Romney was not somebody that I would say, I'm going to go out there and do everything I can to help this guy win. And he was probably less of a push, I would say less of a pushover then, but he was the same person back then too. He was just controlled opposition. He showed his true colors when you got a real guy and you got a real man in the ring. That's when he showed his true colors. Kaiser of Third Age says, I do agree with you, Rep. She was insufferable, but did okay. I think the ending statement from Trump was the best, and he got his point. I think everyone agrees. I think everybody agrees with that. D. Nixon says, Harris showed how weak she is in Pennsylvania, but looked pretty and had good... Okay. Really? Okay, had good lines. She did have good lines for her base, but the other thing is a little subjective. On net tonight is to Trump's advantage if the campaign capitalizes on the weakness she showed, especially in Pennsylvania. Yep. Tucker Cornegay says, here's the issue I think conservatives had. We see the way Vance, Ramaswamy, Donalds, etc. argued the issues on Trump's behalf and want him to be able to do the same. If so, it wouldn't be close. Well, that's why you got the VP debate. Trump is not somebody that's always been like that type of guy that's going to go out there and I think he's very smart. I really do. I mean, let's be real. But at the same time, these other people can maybe articulate certain things to a different audience better. I'm not saying they can't. But the appeal with Trump is that he's not like these other people. That's kind of part of the appeal. So, again, I think he's got to have these attack dogs, and I think he's got to keep doing his thing. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Ash K2 says it's disheartening to see so many former Republicans voting Harris because they're choosing country over party. We need to court. Well, we are doing that. I mean, I don't think those former Republicans ever voted for Donald Trump, which is the main thing that I have a problem with the doomer aspect of it. But we are doing that. We're doing it with Tulsi, RFK Jr., all these other people, disaffected Democrats. They're on board. I think it's a very good thing. Jacob Harlow for 20 says Trump did good. Kamala did better than expected, but not great. Mods weren't the greatest, but not as bad as Chris Wallace. No matter what this debate does or the polls say, don't get complacent. Get out there. Yeah, I agree. Get out there and vote. And take people with you. Because one vote is one vote, but if we can get that up to 5 or 6 per person listening tonight, that would be 15,000 votes. 15,000. There's no excuse. And vote early, please. I know some people don't like to, but, bank your vote. So let the lines on election day be a little bit less so people will be willing to stand in them. It's not going to be Arizona in the midterms. There's nothing wrong with just track your vote. If you don't want to vote by mail, fine, but you could vote early in person. Every swing state, there's some way to vote early in person. And then hang out with your friends. Take them to vote early in person in October. Take them with you. It's like an activity. Go out for lunch afterwards. Do what you got to do. Go to the movies. Do whatever needs to be done. Do it. But vote. And take people to vote. And it's better to say, okay, I'll hang out with these people on the weekend and we'll do it. The next weekend I'll hang out with these people and then we'll do it. And then I'll do, the family this weekend, the cousins, the relatives, brother, sister, if they're voting for Trump, whatever, or would vote for Trump if they get out to vote, and then do it. Because that's how we win. There's no excuses this time. If we're not able to win, we're going to lose the country. And that's the problem. We have to win this election or we won't have a country. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Oh, we'll get him next time. No, we got lucky in 2020. And if Trump wins, it could be all worth it. But and that's the problem with people, because I'd be saying the same thing whether the media is declaring Trump the winner of the debate or the loser. And I'm kind of glad, if anything, they're going to call him the loser, because then his base is going to be upset. And hopefully they can channel that anger into, positive action to get voters voting. That's what I'll have to say. JC1026, thank you for the 2. Brian McQuaid says Trump would rebut against the will of the moderators. They let him. When Kamala tried, they shut her down. It made her look weak. Real Text in Politics says Trafalgar says Harris won the debate 55-43, but polls pre-debate and post-debate are tied, so the debate changed nothing as expected. Yeah, I'm with Trafalgar on that one. I'm with him on that one. I agree. It's possible that the polls show that people might say that, and maybe it's a cognitive dissonance bias or whatever, but either way, it was a wash. If that's what the poll is showing in an act, and it's a snap poll anyways, and the poll is unchanged, I can't say that that's good news for Kamala. She needed a big boost, at least a response bias boost. Right now, the poly market is still the same. Trump is winning Pennsylvania, Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona. He's doing it. He's doing it all. And we'll be polling nationally with the new methodology. If you guys want to donate to the poll, you could do so. The link's in the description. And if you want to buy my merch, You can do the same thing. The link's in the description. The shirt that I'm wearing now, you guys can get it. You can get one and then get another for 20% off. All t-shirts, tank tops, coffee mugs, you name it. The Salty Lima says, not sure if it was brought up, but she said J6 was the worst thing since Civil War. Paraphrasing, the day before 9/11. Yeah, it's a joke. January 6th, that's like blaming Larry Brown for Malice at the Palace back in the day. It's like blaming Trump for it. You can't do that. It's malpractice. Some people did something. That's what Ilhan Omar said about 9/11. But that's actually pretty much 1/6. People got in a building. Some people shoved people. And, people broke the law. Try them. Whatever, but try them fairly. You don't put praying grandmothers in prison for life because they happen to oppose the narrative of the regime, because that's what it is. You can say democracy all you want. It's not democracy. Just be honest. Say regime, a threat to our order, a threat to our regime, because it's honest. Okay, it's honest. William Alfano says, if anyone noticed, ABC broke their own rules by unmuting Kamala's mic when Trump's rebutting. Well, they said, in all fairness, and it's not, you could say it's not fair because they were more loose than CNN, but they said, we'll unmute the mics when necessary if things get out of hand or something like that. They did have that as part of the rules. I think CNN did that during the Gulf thing, which I think was funny with Trump and Biden. But again, we know that's a setup. They may have even drugged Biden for that debate. People will say that's a conspiracy. They could have, if they wanted him out of the way, they knew he could not win. If you look at approval rating of an incumbent president, there's never been a president with an approval rating below 50 that's won re-election. So Biden being at 39, do you think they might have been able to say, we'll push him to the side beforehand? Like either that or they didn't give him the right thing. And I'm not saying that Biden, without that whatever cocktail, the incorrect cocktail, would have done well. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that, yeah, he could have very well been set up. And that's not to say that I sympathize with him or anything like that, but he was absolutely done dirty. He absolutely was done dirty, 100%. BB says, Barris thinks Trump needs to fire Lasivita and Wiles. I mean, it's September. Like, I don't know. Like, I've been somebody that said that Lasivita, I'm skeptical of him, not because I feel like he's sabotaging the electoral chances of Trump, but because of some of the things he said in the past. And I'm not saying that, to, I guess you would say, align with certain people that have been very, very active on that front of trying to get him fired. I'm more of like the fringes. But it is true that Lasivita, I don't know if I could fully trust like him if Trump gave him like a chief of staff role or something. But I don't know. I don't know if I can say that that's the best move, because you're this late in the campaign. People are voting. Like, do you think changing the manager is going to solve problems? Like, if you're upset with them because they made him debate, I just don't know. And I like Barris, but I just don't know if I can agree with him on that. JC1026 says, how does anyone believe her? So tired of the fake news, donating to Trump again, making sure all my friends are registered. Maggie, I maxed out my donation. So, you guys can feel free. Don't super chat to me. Send it to Trump. I'll appreciate that. Napoleon the Great says, check the Trafalgar poll. We did that. CCM28 says, Harris opening this debater will be about records. The American people's not name-calling, spends minute-long tirades badgering a 78-year-old. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the age thing. Doesn't matter. Trump he's a dog, man. He's an absolute legend. He could take it. He could take it. But it is true that they don't care about their own little principles they pretend to have. We know that they're hypocrites, but they get to be hypocrites because they have the media narrative on their side. We get that. We're here to cut through the media narrative. That's why we have a platform until everybody gets stripped of it, because you're going to be alleged that you're a Russian agent now because of like some media scandal that people are paying attention to. That probably is an indictment that, again, I'm not saying that there was no money given, but they're going to use something like that to discredit all right-wing talking points, when in reality, it's not like Russia hasn't tried to promote the left in this country. They did it in 2016, according to their own partisan Russian hoax investigation. Manny says most Swifties are pro-Palestine. They hate Harris. We'll see. I don't think like the diehard Swifties are really going to change their vote based off of Taylor Swift. I mean, let's be real. A lot of them can't even vote because they're not old enough. It's a low propensity demographic. She's already endorsed Democrats cycle after cycle. I mean, like, she was respectful enough in her endorsement to the fans that might disagree, to the point where she'll retain the fans, but also the fans that disagree are not going to, fall in line with whatever she says. It is what it is. I mean, she's friendly with Trump people, and it is what it is. A lot of these celebrities, they get to live like it's the old days. Social media was pressuring her, though, and she had to say something, and that kind of, I guess, placates everybody a little bit. But what do you expect her to endorse Trump? I mean, that'd be big, because this big celebrity endorsing Trump is like, whoa, what's going on? That's not me saying that I care about celebrity endorsements. I don't listen to what celebrities say. I think it's cool if Trump gets them, but it's not like they move the needle a lot. How many rappers has Trump had in his corner? Like, a lot of them. And good for him. It's funny, whatever. Mr. Jimmy says, how will polling be like after the debate? We'll see. She might get a response bias bump, but I don't know how ridiculous it's going to be. It'll go away within a couple weeks anyways. Salty Lima, thank you for becoming a member. And Chase Ballots, I don't care what a poll says. I don't care. Polls have Florida as a toss-up. We know Trump's going to win it probably by double digits, honestly. Johnny Heartdog says, I've been thinking I'm a Trump supporter, but after watching this debate, I'm going to have to vote for Trump. That's a joke. That's a joke. All right. I understand that's a joke. The Salty Lima for 10 says, I still don't understand how she got away with saying J6 is the worst thing since Civil War the day before 9/11. Yeah, and they'll say, well, Trump said Afghanistan was embarrassing. But Trump gets to exaggerate because he's Trump, and it's been a part of his personality since he's entered politics and before he's entered politics. That's the thing. Sandra Esparza says, Kamala's condescending attitude and smirks when Trump was speaking about issues that matter to the American people was despicable. It's true. It absolutely was. Pax Techum says, Dana Bush, you meant Bash, and Tapper were fairer mods than ABC mods. Well, look, maybe they wanted to be fair because they wanted Biden to have a bad performance. I'm not always one for conspiracies, but if we're going to be honest about the way this race has gone, people at the time were like, maybe CNN wants Trump to win for ratings. But now it's like, oh, well, they want Kamala to win. Maybe they just wanted Biden out of the way for ratings, or maybe they feel like he couldn't win. And that's not to say that Harris is going to win. The people that are saying it's over after this debate need to have their head examined. I am Charles, says Mr. Reagan, and others predict Sleepy Joe resigned for the election to make Kamala president. Can they do this? Well, they could. Will they? I don't know. Because part of it is like, oh, it's the first female president. And that would kind of take that away. If she's already president, then she owns the entire record. Maybe if Trump wins, they'll do that just to be like, look, Trump, I'll spite you. I'll be the 47th president. All your little merch you're going to have to redo because they're petty little bastards is what they are. Billion the Clonosaurus says, Chase Oliver 2024. Become a serious person, please. Unless you would vote for Harris over Trump, then support Chase Oliver all you want. Temporal Forces says Trudeau's government may fall soon in an election held. It'll be the best Christmas if we have Trump and Poilievre elected. Let's get it done. Yeah, I'll stop making fun of Canada if that happens. About 20%. Garrett Vranikar says, love or hate, the Groypers have a point. Kamala's running the middle to lower right enthusiasm, and Trump isn't going to win over liberals. He needs to play to his... Well, look, the problem with them is they think Trump's base of white working class disaffected voters is upset at Trump because the RNC had John James give a speech. Oh, wait a minute. What district does John James represent? Oh, wait, it's Macomb County. That's the Trump area. He outran Trump in that district. So the problem I have with a lot of the people, on the fringe right is I don't think that they grasp electoral politics more than they actually do. They care a lot about being edgy on the internet. A lot of it's a phase for them. It is what it is. Some of them might be very upset that I'm saying it. I don't care. In terms of electoral politics, I understand the dynamics. That's the way it goes. A lot of people say, well, Trump needs to play to his base. He is playing to his base the entire cycle. He's talking about the economy and trade and talking about immigration. Why? Because he doesn't want to take a position that like 4% of Republicans have on Palestine, that Trump is abandoning his original base. Like that just doesn't, that is a short-sighted view of politics. Now, it is true that Kamala's trying to put on this facade, but even then, when the media is going to say Trump is acting like a dictator and a racist and all this stuff about the migrant crisis with Haiti, Trump is playing to his base. And these people are just, riling up the base when they're acting like lunatics. And it puts the Harrises like a centrist facade out the window. That's kind of the main problem. So... And apparently I heard that that group likes the performance of Trump's debate tonight. So I don't know. They just seemingly are kind of, I don't know if they can make up their mind. It is what it is. John Waffle H2P says, there are human traffickers that hang outside of my suburban high school. Things are getting out of hand. Trump should pardon Snowden day one. Where were we? And Wyoming court should prosecute the Cheneys. Well, depends on what. Now, that would run contrary to the immunity thing. Ruling of the Supreme Court. But yeah, American Nerd 76, his favorite debate moment in history, not from Trump. Mine was Ross Perot in 92 talking about a giant sucking sound when talking about NAFTA. Yeah, Perot is a legend. I didn't agree with him on everything, but he should have been the Republican nominee. He probably could have beaten Clinton. At least done better. Let's see. Mike Oxard says Jimmy Dore would be a great moderator. Yeah, if you're looking for somebody on the left, hey, Cenk would be a better moderator than a lot of these people. Chunk Yogurt, yeah, put him up there. Have Chunk and have Tucker Carlson. They can do this. They can do a joint debate moderation. Why not? Seriously, why not? Will Power says Joe Rogan and Elon Musk yeah, I agree. People that are intriguing, that bring a new perspective, other than the mainstream media garbage, they will actually raise political engagement in this country, and it would help Donald Trump. That's why Trump is smart for going on these podcasts. He got, 15 million views on Theo Vaughn of all shows, and playing golf with this golfer, he gets 15 million. It's like all those combined probably help Trump more than any debate loss would hurt Trump, because you have a lot of people that get acquainted with him that like him. He's being smart. Hell Force is why Ben Shapiro just a doomer. He's always negative about Trump because, he's a DeSimp. I mean, he's been a never Trumper back in 2016. Now, I will say Shapiro has had a more grounded take in reality about this debate than 90% of other commentators. And I'm not a fan of everything Shapiro says or positions that he's held, but you have to give credit where it's due. He has a big platform, and he's supporting Trump, unlike in 2016, where he used that same platform to tear Trump down at every possible turn. So, again, I'm not saying that Shapiro's perfect on everything, or he's my brand of conservative or whatever, but I don't think he's been that bad in terms of his analysis tonight, unless I'm missing something. Temporal Forces says, can Trump do anything in office against the saboteurs like Kamala and other evil people in the Uniparty? I hate that America's... Well, the thing is that they call Project 2025, it's evil. But they always say Trump's talking about it when he's talking about gutting the deep state. But the fact that Trump's talking about that is huge, and it's much needed, and it's popular. So if that's Project 25 and it's real, bring it on. These people need to go. These departments need to be closed. Get rid of, and Trump would be, ironically, all the libertarians that like to clutch their pearls are going to be eating the most crow about that. But On Point Politics for 10 says, Rep is on a roasting and killing streak tonight. He's roasting the betas who love Trump but won't even move for him when it comes down to it. Well, do they even love him, though? Do they love him? I don't know. Scott B says, being happy about the MSM being nice to you again is like being happy the bully only shoved you into a locker instead of giving you a swirly. Yeah, I know. It sucks, man, these people. BB says, if you're going to doom, just deactivate. Yeah, why don't you, if you actually care, actually chase ballots. You're worried about, oh, well, the debate and the people in the suburbs. Why don't you chase ballots in the suburbs? Seriously. Why don't you try to go out there and find people who are disaffected that would vote for Trump and then get them to vote? I mean, a lot of them, to be fair, don't have the social skills to do it. But, I mean, folks, oh, man. DS Cuber says Trump was a 5.75. Kamala was a 6. In my opinion, she won because the mods were friendly and Trump wasn't as focused on core issues, missed completely on the border bill, doesn't move the needle. I don't think Kamala's statement on the border bill is going to move the needle that much because, like, Trump did say, like, you didn't need a bill to do that. But it's just the repeated lie. The border bill, the border bill, the border bill. Folks, let's be real. You don't need a border bill to solve the problem you created. That's the problem. You had a border bill that was actually effective and didn't give out amnesty, and all the Republicans supported it. Harris was like, oh, the most conservative Republicans. Yeah, James Lankford's your only remotely conservative Republican. He's like a bottom 5, 10 senator on the Republican side. That's your flex. You need to just stop talking. But they want to gaslight the American public. They do. Jenna to Linhua Wang. Matthew Foxtrot says we knew it was coming, but thoughts on the Taylor Swift endorsement, and doesn't move the needle. Didn't move it in 2016, or it didn't happen in 2016, but it didn't really move the needle much in 2020. I'm not worried about Taylor Swift and her endorsement. It wasn't like a forceful one. She just gave her reasons and told people to do their research. It's not that big of a deal. If she cooks the cookies again, I don't even know if that's going to help out. Jimmy Payne for 20 says liberals' ultimate goal is to replace Americans with immigration, known as well, it's not, they don't use the word reset. They use the word replace, and they say you can't say that because it's evil and it's racist, and they use conspiracy. But if they say it, it's fine, and you have to embrace it, and it's perfectly normal and stunning and brave and all this stuff. The problem is that we've had enough immigration. I want to lower not just illegal, but legal. If you see what we've been doing, all the jobs that we've created, they're not going to American citizens. They're going to immigrants and illegals. The problem is that we need a moratorium, at least net zero. I talk about, Ed family members coming over in the 1940s from Middle Eastern countries, and I say they didn't come to those countries. They came to get away from them, but they came in limited numbers. These are, people that pass the vibe check. They didn't come to America and, cut the heads off of geese and carry them around. And they're like, it's racist. But if you see the people that are complaining about it in Springfield, it's Black Americans who were born here that are upset with what's going on as well. And I'm not saying that that's like the only demographic that's upset, but they're just as upset as the so-called white racists. So people are upset in general, and we're losing our country to globalism the same way that a lot of European countries have gone that way. And that's not right. It's not, there's nothing wrong with loving your country. There's nothing wrong with wanting to, have a controlled flow of people on our own terms. America is not just an idea. It's a people. Of course, the people, we get to decide. There's people that are a part of that American people who, were in the past, coming over from Europe and even to an extent other places. But folks, let's be real. BB says ignore the polls for a month. Why don't we just get to work? I'm not worried too much about the polls. If you think, North Carolina's gone for this debate, I don't know, man. Riley Moore says, me and a lot of my friends are voting Trump. We want to save our country. Yeah, that's good, but get them out to vote. Ash K2 says, most women find men who are conservative leaning or voting Trump to be disgusting and might shame their boyfriends and husbands to vote for. That's not true. Women love masculine men. This is the thing, okay? Women don't love these, Antifa types or these like people that are like these white dudes for hair. You think that that's what turns on women? How many Reddit posts have we seen over the years get circulated? And I know it's online, but it's true. And I can speak to personal experience, not just from me, but from a lot of other people that I know about this who have dated people on the left, dated women on the left. They would prefer a conservative man who they shame all day on social media to one of these like, liberal, wimpy type of guys. That's kind of what they want. So no, if a man gets shamed into voting for Harris, by the way, a lot of the guys that are for Trump, you could flip that on its head, that start dating women who are a little bit more malleable politically, one could say. They'll get them to vote Trump. And that's what people need to do, honestly. That's how you convince people. But no, that's not true at all. The liberal women, they like conservative men because they're actually men, because our values are just regular values that women are, in general, biology. And the inverse, one could say. Conservative women are more feminine on average than liberal women. It's the way it goes. How many of these like masculine types that cut their hair short, how many of those are like diehard conservatives? Not a lot of them. Obviously, there is overlap. I'm not saying there's not. You have feminine women who may be relatively apolitical, but like are NPCs and vote left. It's the way it goes. But no. But no, yeah, there's not a lot of, I would say that a lot of attractive women are relatively apolitical from my experience, but they actually do lean right a lot more than they lean left. And that speaks volumes because younger women as a whole typically lean left. And that's like the demographic we're talking about here. So Riley Moore says, a few of my Filipino friends know I'm voting for Trump as well from Pennsylvania. Yeah, Filipinos could deliver Nevada for Trump. No, that's not a joke. Blaze, thank you for becoming a member. CCM28 says Springfield is exposed libs as the faux public health party only for COVID jabs and masks, but ignore the third world eating wild ducks. Yeah, exactly. Blaze says Harris is wearing Nova H1 audio earrings tonight, which are wireless earphones. Look, was she really? And I'm not trying to defend Harris here or say that she didn't have any extra help. But do you really think somebody wearing an earpiece is going to help them a whole lot, even if they were? Are you going to just repeat what they're saying to you while you're going on this long soliloquy? No, I highly doubt it's really would have helped her much. I don't think that's what they're doing. Doggy Down Syndrome says men are going to decide this election. Inflation's key. It's true. Scott B says, I read somewhere the earliest early voting starts on September 16th in Pennsylvania. I heard Scott Pressler's ground game solid. Well, we've been working hard, not just me, but everybody in this movement's been working hard on Pennsylvania, and rightfully so. So Base Cat says ABC keeps getting ratioed on X. Let him. Steve Dow says Shapiro takes the position Trump failed to define Harris. He mentioned several of her leftist positions during the debate, and his ads are hitting her on those positions. What more do they want him to do? I agree. The ads more people probably see in the swing states than the debate, and I don't think the ads move the needle much either. It comes down to ballots, guys. We gotta beat them where it counts. And people like Shapiro, regardless of whatever I have to say about certain policy positions we might disagree with, or certain takes on Trump or whatever, if he wants to help out, you get the Daily Wire, which is a major news organization at this stage in the game, and you make sure that they push like there's no tomorrow voter registration in North Carolina. They're headquartered like an hour away from North Carolina. Do something there. Do something in Georgia. Do something in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. I want to see these people put their money where their mouth is if they care. And obviously Shapiro, he raised money for Trump. I'll give him credit. I'm not even hating on the guy here. I'm trying to bridge the gap and see what we can do, everybody on the right, to get Trump elected. And we'll see. We'll see. I know he's been a never Trumper, but if he wants to help out, I'll just say that he needs to be promoting volunteering, ballot chasing, and stuff like that. Manny says, check the CNN post-debate economy poll on X. Okay, yeah, we'll look at that. We'll look at that. I could see. I don't see anything. Do I see? Oh, Trump gained 2 points on the economy. I wouldn't be surprised. Let me see what about some of these other issues, if they have other issues. So it kind of shows the nuance even in their own polls that 55 to 35 in that poll said Trump would handle the economy better. Yeah. And again, confidence to lead the country, a lot and some is like the same for both combined. None is 46% for each. It's not something that moves the needle. This is not something that jumps out to me as, oh, well, Trump failed or that, oh, Trump won. Like, I think he had a great debate performance. I also think she outperformed, if we're going to be honest. Apex Caliber says, interesting how Harris wants a second debate but won. Yeah, I don't know. Apex Caliber says, CNN focus group not impressed by Harris. You don't have to send a super chat, Apex, but can you tell me what the end result of that focus group was while we're on the stream still? Because I'm kind of curious about that. I'm kind of curious. But yeah, no, it was something, man. We've got super chats all night long. We're talking about super chats. I did 12 minutes of a monologue, and then the next hour and a half, it's 12:31 Central. It's 1:31 on the East Coast. We got to wrap it up in like a couple minutes here. I mean, we've been doing this for a while. But no, Trump already has the momentum. That's what they don't get. Poly market, Trump actually always up by 1 in poly market now. So, okay, well, it's just back and forth and back and forth. It's tiresome. It's really tiresome. But no, it's not moving the needle much at all. Should Trump even do the next debate? I don't know. I missed your first super chat at the beginning. Did I really? I don't see it. Oh, he dodged the question about enforcing deportation. Yeah. I mean, there were both questions that got, like, dodged, to be honest. Trump should debate again if it's a town hall format. Maybe, yeah. Honestly, I think that we just need to keep chasing ballots. Like, that's it. Like, I don't care what the polls say. Obviously, Trump is doing well in them. But, I mean, we've seen that movie before in 2022 in some places. And obviously, it's a different electorate. I'm more confident in this electorate than the midterm electorate, but still. FKIT crushes. You don't want a second debate if you won. Or maybe they feel like she did well, and that if she does well again, that it would help out. I don't know. I would not debate unless it's like on Fox, or you have like an actual solid moderator like Musk. Or even if, yeah, it should be a joint debate with Tucker Carlson and Chunk Yogurt. That would be great content. Like something like that would be great content. Wish he would have rejected a federal. Well, he did. Like, Harris didn't reject the other side of the abortion coin. Like, Trump is kind of now, like, it does seem like he's trying not to piss off the pro-life people. I honestly don't think it's that big of a deal. If he says, yeah, I'll veto it, like, whatever. But I think he's leaving the door open for, like, a late-term ban, which, again, is not politically something you want to campaign on, but it is the moral thing to do. And if it's in effect, then, like, nobody's going to, really be able to stop it. But I don't think he has the votes for it unless they nuke the filibuster, which I don't know if they're going to have enough Senate seats to do something like that, given Collins and Murkowski and all those other people. But yeah, no, she just does the same thing. Project 25. Project 2025 in reality is just get Donald Trump back in the White House and just let him do what he needs to do. I just can't stand these people. They don't deserve to claim the victory. And we I think a couple streams ago we went on a little rant about that, but it's been a long stream. I'm not going to do that, but they don't deserve to win after all they've done over the past 9 years. It's not legitimate. It's not good. We need to win this thing. And that's that. We need to win. So, Eunice for $50. That's going to end it. Eunice Ikemoto for $50. Thank you, Eunice. I appreciate the super chat. Big ups to Eunice. and we're going to go. But like the stream before you go, subscribe. We will be back with a video tomorrow, and the Doomers will doom, and we're going to put our heads down and win and work and win. That's all we can do. Nothing on the field come November 5th. That's what it needs to be. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell. Michigan Nationalists must elect Lake, Brown, Rogers, Hovde for that reason, and McCormick as well. I have a weird feeling he's going to pull it off. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. It's not like that hasn't happened before, but it doesn't happen as much as they say it happens. But like the stream, subscribe, hit the bell, follow me on social media. The links are in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.